Hello Murphy staff, welcome to this summer's screencast of our upcoming master schedule for the 2014-2015 school year. I would like to take just a few minutes to get everybody up to speed on some of the differences in this year's master schedule from last year. And we'll start off, we have a lot of new people coming on board, so we'll start off just reviewing some basics. And that would be that our students who come into school at 8:50 and leave at 3:30 for a 6-hour and 40-minute day of 400 minutes of instruction. And our staff day is 8:10 to 3:40 for 7 hours and 30 minutes or 450 minutes altogether. We start off the day with 10 minutes of arrival and announcements, getting the kids ready for the day. At the end of the day, we have 10 minutes for pack up and dismissal. Lunch and recess each run 20 minutes. We have 2 sets of specials that the kids have for 30 minutes each time. Science and social studies tier 3 interventions that run for 20 or 30 minutes. This year we're doing an IE block that's 30 minutes, which is a change from last year where we were pushing 40 to 50 minutes. With the new math curriculum, we're getting a 90-minute block for math into our schedule. Our whole group reading is 50 or 60 minutes depending on grade level and how everything fits together. And our small group reading time, those blocks have been brought down a little bit to 50 minutes. And we're continuing to have an LA or writing time for 30 minutes, which winds up being about 400 minutes in total. So this is the basic master schedule that to many of you will look familiar and to some of you will become more familiar. We have the day going, times going across with the grade levels going down. Each of these little chunks is 5 minutes, and so we have the bigger chunks as 15-minute blocks that everything gets built into, running from 9 o'clock over to 3:15. This would be 3:20, right here where we start pack up, and our announcements at the end of the day, right when we dismiss. The first thing about Murphy's schedule is our cafeteria and gym are a shared space, so we really have to plan out our lunches before we can figure out anything else. And so this is the same setup that we had last year. Our first graders start off going down to lunch first at 11:40. They get their lunch and sit down on one side of the gym. Then 10 minutes later the second graders come in, and 10 minutes later our first graders leave while the third graders are coming in, and that pattern just continues until we get everybody done with the lunches. I am going to be making some changes to how the cafeteria operates. Hopefully it'll be a little smoother this year. But I'll talk about that later. After we get the lunch and recesses built in, I just want to talk about the specials. We have done this back-to-back thing with specials where 2 grade levels are kind of switching off on specials at the same time. And we're going to continue that. I have paired up the grade levels differently, and this is due to the number of sections at each grade level. So I've paired 2nd and 5th grade because 2nd grade has 4 sections and 5th grade has 5 full sections and 1 self-contained section. I've paired 4th and 1st grade together, and then 3rd grade will be off by themselves. I'll talk about this a little bit more, but I have created one day for each grade level where everybody will have double specials at the same time. And so this will enable the whole team to be together to plan with the administration once on the A through E day schedule. And each grade level will have one of those times. So we have that here. And I'll talk about that a little bit more. Then the other thing that we started last year is we have a staggered small group reading block. And I've shortened this up a little bit, partly so that everybody will be able to have their whole group reading time before the kids go to small group. Also, we've had to steal some minutes to get our longer math block as well. But we're going to be starting off with small group of third grade first, then going to fifth grade, then fourth grade, and second grade and first grade, ending up with small group at the end of the day. This will be the same group of people that did this last year, our reading specialists and our ESL and bilingual resource teachers will be pushing in at each grade level to assist with those small group reading blocks. Okay, then the other piece that we started last year with the restructuring was an intervention and enrichment block, and these have been able to fit into the afternoon quite nicely. And once again, we've got those staggered, and with bringing it down to 30 minutes, we've got all of the grade levels having their own IE block. And if all of the specials are occurring before lunch, as you can see over here, we're going to have all 7 of our specials teachers available to push into the IE blocks in the afternoon. And we won't be having split teachers like we did the past year. Okay, so this kind of represents the chunks of the master schedule where multiple grade levels and staff members are working with different grade levels. So these are kind of the pieces that are kind of stuck in stone. There's obviously reading and math that have to be filled in, and I'll move on to that in a second, but just kind of want to let the grade levels know that for second grade, for instance, you could run your whole group reading here and run your math in the morning, or there's some flexibility with where some of these other components from this point on fit in. But this is kind of how I see these pieces fitting in. A bunch of whole group instruction going on in the morning, which pretty much covers every grade level. Then LA and writing blocks. These I've just slotted in where they seem to best fit and don't chunk up the schedule too much more. Then piecing in our math blocks. And so with the 90 minutes of math, looks like really only one grade level or 2 grade levels that really get to one grade level that gets to have the whole 90 minutes straight. Other grade levels are going to have to chunk up their time. Possibilities are doing whole group and then small group within the math. A lot of that we'll just have to figure out as we get into the year. And then our last component to fit in is our science and social studies. And so for some grade levels, we have a fairly nice science and social studies block, namely second grade, fourth grade, and fifth grade. Other grade levels, the science and social studies blocks are kind of chunked up a little bit. And the creative piece here is that on the days that teams have second specials, there's 2 days of the week where you'll have that second special, but there's 3 days of the week where you have the kids. And that would be a nice chunk of time where you can throw in some science and social studies lessons. There are other schools in the district that only do science and social studies during that second specials time 3 days a week, and they don't chunk it out in the rest of their master schedule. So this is kind of how the master schedule looks for each of the grade levels. Okay, the next thing I'd like to do is I'd like to start looking at how this pans out for individual teachers and grade levels. And I think we will start off by going down to a team. And so here's the difference that I talked about a little earlier. If you take a look at first grade, all of the first grade teachers have a double special on the A day. So what this is going to enable them to do is we're going to have a team meeting on the A day for first grade from 10:30 to 11. And on those days then that you're meeting as a team, because everybody is a double special, you'll still have your break. And so this essentially looks very similar to last year. The only thing that's a little bit different is if you look at Alma's class, for instance, there are some days where her plan and break, or her specials and plan, just get swapped out. So for example, on the B day, Alma has her plan, and then she has kids in her room, while most other people on the B day have their kids away at specials. And then on the C day, she's got her kids in the room, and then she has her plan. And we'll look at how that works for the specials teachers. And then for second grade, this is built out the same way, where on the A day, all of the second grade teachers have double specials, and they will all be able to plan, have a team meeting with the administration from 9:30 to 10, and then still have their break on that A day. Similar thing for third grade. What's a little bit different with third grade is there's not another grade level that's covering specials with them. So their specials is going to be on the E day, and on the E day almost everybody has a double special, but you'll notice that Heather and Cheryl do not. And so there are a couple of specials teachers that are going to be able to come in during these times for Heather and Cheryl, so that they get their break on those days, because they'll be meeting as a team on the E day, and then they'll have somebody else cover their class to get a break. And for fourth grade, their specials is their team day is going to be the B day, so everybody has a double special in fourth grade on the B day. And they will be able to meet with the administration from 10 to 10:30, and then have their plan from 10:30 to 11. And fifth grade is also on the B day. Everybody has double specials on the B day, and they will meet from 9 to 9:30, and you'll have your plan from 9:30 to 10. So let's go back and look at how this pans out for the specials teachers. For specials teachers, is very similar to what we did this year. The only difference is you have to be a little more flexible with the grade levels that are coming to you. So for example, if you look at Mike's schedule, he goes from 5th grade to 2nd grade on the A day, but on the B day he's going from 2nd grade to 5th grade. And then 5th grade, 5th grade, 5th grade, 2nd grade. So clearly in the course of ABCD you still see all of your sections, but it's not quite as clean as we had it this year. I haven't, obviously everybody's going to have plan and lunch and some duties in here. I haven't planned all this stuff out, so that'll be forthcoming, but these are the core components. This is the piece I was talking about just a little bit earlier. Jody, for instance, on the E day, there are 2 slots there where she wouldn't have class, and so the E day is when 3rd grade is meeting, and so Jody will need to cover Heather's class during that time, so Heather gets her break. And then the same thing occurs for Mike on the E day. So that is a very brief overview of our master schedule for this year. I'm really excited to get started with it and plan out the new things, especially the new IE opportunities. And if you have any other questions, just let me know. And have a wonderful, restful rest of the summer. Take care.